ready to change how you use Jira. So learn from us how we use it internally. I will share with you all details how we use it for recruiting, development, project management, video editing, content production, and many other things. So we use Jira extensively, and I will show you all configurations, columns, features, feature flags, issues, and everything. So you can get inspired and potentially learn something new as well. Hi everyone, so I'm showing you here our software development project where we develop our products. Here is our main Kanban board. As you see, it has multiple states like to do, selected for development, kickoff, and so on. So we basically use company managed project here, plus we also use swim lanes. Here, as you see, is a project workflow. It's a bit complex, but you can transition to any state. So we have the following state. It usually starts from backlog. Backlog is not visible on the Kanban board, as you see, it's not here. The next state is next and to do. Basically, it's where software development starts, but we will simplify them and remove. The next stage is kickoff. In kickoff, people basically prepare for development. They ensure that ticket is ready, task is understood, QA checklist, security checklist, and reviews are prepared, task is printed, and so on. Zones are in progress, it's when software development starts. The next stage, there is a code review and it's testing and so on, and then it's merged. When it's merged, it's released to production. So we have also called the code review stage. We have a optional in QA stage where the same person or someone else tests the feature. And when it's ready to release, we put it into release. As well as if there is an issue in waiting for third party, there is a column for this. So here's how it looks. As you see, we have here those states, plus we have our whole team here, and we use epics for our products. We do use labels for different things like security, blockers, important. For example, if issue is marked as important or blocker, it ends up in this expedite column. If an issue has a growth label, it comes here. If an issue has a product column, it comes here. The rest of things come here. Then, of course, we have a quick filters here. As you see, we basically have projects as the filters. We have first most important things are blockers, security, compliance, and so on. Then, like it's a personal filter for reviewing, bugs, growth, and the rest of our products. So pretty straightforward. Let me quickly show you as well the issue fields. So here I opened an example issue for developer communication. As you see, we have a reporter, we have assignee who is working on the issue, we have reviewers, as well as we do use labels to indicate different things. We don't use estimates for Kanban board because we try to do it as soon as possible. And then we also have additional field called review artifacts. When an issue is done or close to be done, we put there like documents, designs, pull requests and code or code reviews, and so on and so forth. Another interesting part here, as you see, we have epics, which indicates a product, in this case, where this issue is used. We have a checklist. We do use checklist often, but I don't think we use it in this issue. I know we do have here. So basically, we ensure that each issue before it moves in progress has things to do in a checklist. On top of this, as you see, we linked issue to the main project, which is another project which is called Project Central, which indicates this issue is part of that bigger project, and it's mentioned on those Confluence pages. So it's pretty straightforward issue view. It allows you to clearly understand what is linked to, who is working on it, people who need to review the things, what are the review artifacts, which we jump in this field. Yet another pretty interesting point here is to show you how we use Jira Automation. So for Jira Automation, here those swim lanes are mentioned. For Jira Automation, we have a few rules. So as you see, in Jira Automation, we created a few rules. Some of them failed. So the first rule, which is so the first rule is pretty simple. On issue transition to in progress, we don't allow issue to be transitioned to in progress without a QA checklist. And then if issue doesn't have a QA checklist, it moves back to kickoff. And we add a comment that we cannot move an issue without a QA checklist. It helps ensure or increase quality of things. Okay, here's another automation rule, which says you cannot move issue to in progress from in progress without PRs. So if issue is in progress but it moved to code review, it must have review artifacts. If they are empty, move back to in progress. So let me explain this again. So if we do use the review artifacts field, and if there are no review artifacts, you cannot move task to in review stage. Otherwise, it's moved back to in progress, and you add a comment, which is pretty cool rule. Another rule which we have is add reviewers as watchers, because as you've seen, we have a field called reviewers, and if someone adds to reviewer, we want to ensure that that person becomes a watcher as well. So it's pretty interesting to see visually who reviewers are, as well as let them know about issue progress. Another one which we tried but we didn't stick. So if pull request was merged, in this case we use GitHub, then issue was transitioned to merged state. However, it didn't work for us because we have often many pull requests against one issue, so the issue shouldn't be moved to merged, ready to release, unless all pull requests merged. And last but not least, the rule we had, if a pull request was created, we wanted to move issue to we wanted to add the pull request to review artifacts, plus move issue to transition issue to code review. We used it for a bit, but then again didn't stick well, because sometimes again you have multiple pull requests, and with multiple pull requests this rule doesn't work very well. And last but not least, I want to show you how we use software tools integration in Jira. So as you see here, we have pull requests assigned to Jira ticket. We use Jira as a part of our GitHub, and you can see it's very easy to see if there is a pull request and all checks are passing, because the green reviews are passing, so people can straight away go and merge things. It helps a lot to understand the state of this artifact. If you have any questions about software development with Kanban and Jira, please let us know and we'll share more details. Okay, well, let's go to another project which is relevant and interesting. Another approach we use is for our project management. We use it Project Central. So the idea is that we have a Jira ticket which is we call it PC, Project Central task, which corresponds to a set of tickets or changes which we are doing to a particular product. And as you see, it's a high level management. For example, here we have a version of a product which we are working on, and it has some description. As well, it has tons of dev-related tickets linked to it. So it enables us to, on a high level, have focus, have less things in parallel, as well as discuss project and have bigger goals. Usually we have a few of them per quarter, and we move in projects. So if something we want to change, improve, and does not relate to a project, or it does not correspond to a project, we usually don't do it or delay it, unless it's important bug fix or security feature. Or security or something like that. As you see in Project Central, we use a few things which are relevant. We use the same idea. We have an assignee. Assignee, for example, will write. It's like project lead. In this case, Michael, he writes whenever he has an update about the project. And project allows multiple people. And as we see here, we can say overall progress, status, and what has changed, what has left. So it is another way to use Jira to manage your high-level projects. We use Apex to kind of define for which product it is or for which area it is. More or less that's it. Pretty much we have this custom field called project status, and we have those updates. So we have weekly catch-up where we review these projects and the board and the progress. Whenever project is done, which means everything is released, it stays here for a couple of weeks for visibility, and then it disappears from the board. You see, this board is much more simple. It has like backlog of projects, project which selected for development. It means product team is working on this, as well as and then stuff which we are actively developing. As you see here, not only tech projects but also like organizing of sites, participating in 2 events. We participate in Atlas Camp, as well as in Unleash Amsterdam, and we want to have a winter team of site. So as you see, projects are helpful to track things on big efforts. Okay, let me show you how we use Jira for our recruiting processes. Recruiting is pretty simple. We had CV in some shape or form from some platform. Then we usually, if we believe that CV is fine, cover letter is fine, we create a ticket here based on a template of this ticket, which include information like mostly role, and we may also put some other information. We have a checklist for this, as you see, which we add as well to see if English is okay, communication skills is okay, and so on. So from this perspective, we create a ticket with the person name, we attach the CV, cover letter and everything, and then we share with the candidate a link to our first stage HR call. So it's a 30 minutes short phone call, sorry, not phone call, Zoom call. There is no video, there is no interview. We talk with the person, and then whoever talks from our team, it's usually round robin, people had to sign randomly more or less, because of this we use tickets, so people come and get familiar whom they're talking with. Basically, one of these three stages, we have technical interviewing, coding task, and design interviewing. Basically, when these three stages pass, so for each stage, person, for example, who made an interview, they will write some notes down there. They can be small, or they can be very big. For example, in this case, let's see. As you see, this is basically much bigger, much bigger note. So it helps other people understand how was the interview, who was there, what is the role, and so on. So whenever people come to the next interview, they could be more familiar with the person and their technical skills and level. So we use Jira to kind of track the interviewing process. If we see that person stuck for some reason for some time, we can ping and so on. But our idea is to move here in days. Then at any stage, if person needs to be rejected, the person who interviewed as a candidate puts ticket into reject state and mentions in the mail person, usually myself in this case, to let people know that they were not lucky this time. As soon as this person is rejected, it means that person was reached via email or that platform has applied. Ticket is moved to rejected. However, if we believe don't reject person, we put it in offer discussions, which usually includes a conversation between everyone who interviewed him or her to understand if that person will fit the company role and so on. And then offer discussions happened with the candidate. If offer is accepted, we put ticket here and we start working on the onboarding, checklist, and other things. So pretty much Jira helps us to asynchronously conduct interviews and don't lose track of anyone. However, we don't add person to screening unless they pass CV and cover letter checks. So it makes pretty easy to see where we are, how many people we have at each stage. We can involve different team members for different roles, and so on. So yeah, just to quickly show you here, we do use a few fields. As you see, we have, for example, here a role, a starting date, potentially a few other things, but pretty much straightforward. You see some nice feedback and so on. Thank you very much. Okay, let me show you how we use Jira to manage video content production. So we use a project, which is team managed project. As you see, it has a following state idea. So if someone has an idea about a video, they got inspired by something or someone, they can post an idea here. And as you see, at the moment, we have 60 ideas. Then, while we believe it's time to work on an idea, we drag it to the next stage and research starts here. Usually it implies search, research, other content research, reading and so on, asking people around, interviewing and so on to provide enough data, as well as see the demand. If there is demand for this, then we move it to the next stage, which is called needs TTH. Needs TTH implies needs time, title, thumbnail and hook. Because as those are videos for public production, we usually put the subtitle, which should be short, punchy, catchy, so people view it. We also have a thumbnail, which we write instructions for our designer to generate or to create one, as well as we work on the hook to ensure that first few seconds of the video are very productive. Other fields I can show you here include format of the video, if it's a long-term or short-term, we'll put here. Bucket, basically we have a few buckets for the videos. We can ensure that one of the videos goes into a particular bucket. We have reviewers, due date templates when we want to publish the video theoretically, and then we have assignee labels and so on. So we use due date to see this calendar view. So whenever video is published, as you see, it becomes a ticket on a particular date, which makes it easier to see where we are at this point. So basically, when TTH is done, we all need to write in. So particularly, there we develop more the script, develop more the story, what we'll put in, or at least what would be the talking points, we write an outline and so on. So as you see this video, for example, I'm doing project management masterclass. So I wrote some outline, I wrote what I want to talk about, and I move it to needs filming. And currently what I'm doing is particular stuff. Whenever I'm done, I uploaded all videos to Google Drive. I will move ticket to needs editing and assign it to our video editor, as well as record a short video loom explaining what needs to be done if there is something specific, or update a ticket with particular b-rolls and so on. As you see, we have, whenever editing is done, reviewed by others, then ticket is moved to needs uploading, and usually person who upload it to YouTube, write descriptions, tags, labels, and so on. Playlists, this will happen. So whenever everything is done, video ready to post, it moved here, which means we need to either wait for the particular day or publish it straight away. And next column we have, which is pretty interesting, it's repurposing. Usually when it's published, sometimes we don't repurpose, and mostly we try to repurpose. We write blog posts, smaller pieces of content, and so on. Some videos we reject, we don't produce all videos at a particular stage. When we don't believe it brings value for people, it's not interesting, or we cannot produce it. So more or less this is how we use Jira to manage our video production. So let me show you how we use Jira to manage content production. In this case, you see that we use Jira to create internal content, external content, any kind of written content most of the time. So it's not videos, it's written content, or short or long form. So we have the following state: content idea. When there is an idea, ticket is created. It doesn't mean anything, just an idea, so we don't forget about it. Then theoretically, if idea seems reasonable and it's time to work on it, we will move ticket to the next stage, which is called needs outline and basically thumbnail and hook. So the idea here to produce piece of content, how it look like, what we may be talking about, how to hook people as well to read further. Afterwards, when someone proposes, we review the idea to see if it makes sense, if the talking points are good, if it's beneficial for people, for the audience, for the place we publish it, and so on. Afterwards, when it's done, review is done, we explore the keywords to ensure that we know which particular keywords, particular piece of content may target, because it's written content, we do believe each piece should have at least some small search engine benefits. Not all of them, but many of them. So because of this, we have this stage. Whenever keywords are added, we jump into developing the content, which basically means writing the content. Most of the time, maybe describing illustrations, writing the content, thinking about search engines, thinking about links, story, and so on and so forth, calls to actions and so on. Whenever this is done, images are done, and this next stage, design needed, we jump into review stage. In the review stage, usually a couple of people review a particular story, they provide feedback, improvements, and so on and so forth. So we do it usually a couple of times. We do idea review when there is it's not shaped fully, and then we do content review when it's more or less shaped, ready to publish. When it's ready to publish, in this project it's called approved. We move the ticket there, and when time comes, the ticket is published and so on, and then we decide either we repurpose it or not. But most of the time we try to repurpose our content as well. However, some pieces are rejected, so we just move them to rejected state, and that's it. So this is the way of our team manage pretty simple content board. As you see, there is no big things involved, but it could be very easily used by multiple people on the team, and it brings transparency, and you can see bottlenecks and progress as well. Okay, let me show you how you can use Jira to enhance your external customer support. So here I'm showing you Jira Service Management, or Jira Service Desk, how it was called before. And you can see that you can create a project which have multiple channels, how people can create issues. As you see here, you have an email, you have portal, you have widget, you have chat, and so on and so forth. So in this way, you can share those channels with your customers or with your people whom you want to support, and they will be able to create the support requests. In our case, as you see, we have a key we have issue as a bug, feature request, or recommendation, as well as we have a components, in our case represent a product. People optionally can send them, they don't sell them always, but because most of the fields are optional except more or less summary. So as you see, it's very easy. Our idea usually is to help customer with our reviews. So our past reviews, we had 36 people read our support, and you can easily go to reports in Jira and see like customer satisfaction and other things, other reports in particular support. So this is live data. As you see, more or less try to keep up with load 7 days. If you go to the you can filter here by different time frames, but this is the situation which you currently have. So many different Jira service management reports help you to understand your support load, your customer satisfaction, and other criteria. Let me show you one of support requests which you received. It's a bit pretty old, so it's okay for the demo. As you see here, the support queue, and here's a feature request which were requested by David for a particular one of product. What we usually do, we link a development ticket related to this issue so we can track the progress or investigations or research or proof of concept or anything else which needs to be done by development or bug fixes. And then whenever this issue is solved, resolved, or we have some progress there, we usually update our support requests. So it makes it easier to track your external and internal communication. If you, for example, because this Jira Service Management tickets, they are not visible easily to devs, there is no many statuses, it's harder to plan them. So we usually link tickets to dev tickets which are worked on by the development team. More or less, Jira Service Management, as you see, it's pretty easy to manage and so on. So we use the same project actually for internal support, but I will show you this in the next stage. Okay, let me show you how we use Jira Service Management for internal support. We do need to use internal help desk to ensure that we are compliant, because we want to track all access changes, all new accounts, and so on. Whenever people start and they want to get access to something which they not provided originally, they will need to create internal support requests. As we see here, we have different service requests, more or less all of them are done. Then those requests, we have notification in Microsoft Teams internally, and it could be addressed. More or less, there is no difference between internal and external support, except potentially like about licensing and who can create accounts. So in this case, we restrict who can create accounts here. Only internal employees and contractors can jump into this link and create, let me show you, and create basically the support request for internal needs, like mostly login accounts or application access and so on. So it's pretty much internal help desk. It helps us to track if people need account accesses, new equipment, and so on. There is not much else to add here, because it's pretty simple tracking tool. We don't any issues here, only internal people can access it, and we have the queue to track account changes and so on.